Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYNT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Connor James. It was a brutally cold day across eastern Kentucky today. I know you felt it. Temperatures stayed below freezing. It was definitely a day to bundle up and stay warm, but staying warm isn't easy for people who have no roof over their head. That's why volunteers at one local homeless shelter worked double duty to give those in need a place to stay. I stopped by the shelter earlier today. In Clay County, for years, if you had no home, you needed to look somewhere else for shelter.
We don't have any place that those who don't have a regular place to stay can come get out of the cold.
But that changed in December when Warm Souls for Worn Souls opened up. A shelter running completely on donations.
To help those who need help in any way we can help them, and anything that we can do for them to help them change their circumstances.
Usually the shelter stays open from 6 at night until 8 in the morning, but not Monday.
We had a concern for the overnight guests that we have here.
Volunteers worked extra hours to keep the shelter open throughout the day. That way those in need wouldn't have to brave the elements. 8
overnight guests last night. 3 have remained here most of the day.
Each of those people grateful for a warm bed and good company. And Karen Lawson says they couldn't run if it wasn't for help from the community.
Come in clean, bring in supplies, bring in bedding, help do the laundry, everything that it takes to keep this place operational.
And volunteers say they'll work hard to make sure people in the county always have a roof over their heads. Now, we have the full hours on WYMT.com. The homeless shelter also has a fundraiser coming up, a pulled pork benefit with proceeds helping the shelter. We have all that information on our website as well.
Well, it was a cold one, and it continues to be cold for tonight. The snow chances, they're not going to be associated with this shot of cold air, but another shot comes in as we head into the middle and into the week. Let's take a look at satellite radar. You can see partly cloudy skies right now, and today's almanac shows just how cold we were. 21 degrees below where we should be for this time of year. Our low temperature was at 6 degrees, where once again we are 21 degrees below that average. Temperatures right now with the teens, but when you factor in that wind, it feels like the single digits. 8 degrees in Pikeville, 9 degrees in Jackson, Hazard, and Moorhead. And for tonight, we're going to be dropping down to 16 with the winds out of the east at 5. Of course, the Twitter topics looking ahead, plenty of snow chances. Of course, all that's coming up, Connor, at 11:16.
All right, thanks, Andrew. Well, a woman is in jail after Ashland police say she hit a car with a family inside while driving a stolen pizza delivery car on Sunday. Police say Danita Ambergy was being treated for a possible drug overdose when she left the hospital against medical advice. As she was leaving, she allegedly got in a pizza delivery car and took off, but not before assaulting an EMT who tried to stop her. Police say they were able to find Ambergy in the stolen car and tried to pull her over. That's when Ambergy hit another car with a family inside. She eventually made it back into a police cruiser. That's when officers were able to arrest her. And someone is shooting a BB gun at homes and cars in Laurel County. Deputies want to find out who's doing it. Homes and cars on streets in the London, Corbin, and Keavy areas have been hit the past 2 nights. Deputies say they don't know who they're looking for. That's why they need your help. They're asking folks living in Laurel County to just keep an eye out. And a Pulaski County family lost everything in a fire. Their memories now turn to rubble. But they're working to rebuild in the face of tragedy, and it's a struggle they know all too well. Garrett Weimer talked to them about their plans to replace everything that was lost.
Their property out Coalbank Road has been in the family for generations, but now not much is left of the home and lives Clayton Gibson and Sarah Johnson made here. All gone, they say, in less than 10 minutes.
He seen smoke coming from around the road, and it was black, and he said, my house is on fire, and I said, Lord, no. Thankfully,
Gibson, Johnson, and the kids were all okay, but they lost everything they owned. The family cat and their dog Diesel,
he was really a man's best friend,
also died in the fire.
I kicked the front door open. I made it about 3 foot in there, and I was just overcome with the smoke and everything, and the flames, ceiling starting to fall down, and I had to turn around and get back out.
Their home here was all paid for, but they say they did not have insurance for it. The Red Cross has gotten them a hotel room. They don't know what they'll do next. Unfortunately, this is not the first tragedy this family has been through. Clayton Gibson's sister, Linda, was brutally murdered in 1994. The killer or killers have never been found. Gibson says he gets through by prayer.
Even though it ain't out loud, I do a lot of talking to my Lord,
and he stays strong through his faith.
And I know he hears me because I'm still here and I'm still going. So, until he stops me, then I'll just keep going.
They're still going and still holding on to memories, even as everything else has turned to ash. In Pulaski County, Garrett Weimer, WYMT Mountain News.
Gibson and Johnson say they've gotten clothing donations from some folks in the community. And officers at the Ennis, Texas Police Department found the body of a woman meeting the description of Kentuckian Emily Wade. Wade has been missing since January 5th. Volunteers found the body in a creek bed that was flooded the night Wade went missing. The body has been transported to the Dallas County Medical Examiner's office to determine the cause of death. House Minority Leader Rodney Atkins entered the governor's race back in November. He's running on strong ties to Eastern Kentucky, a belief that there are better days ahead for Kentucky, and a feeling he's able to get Republican votes if he makes it past May 21st. He says he has the ability to reach across the aisle and find compromise, but he also says there are some things he's going to stand firm on.
If it's a policy decision that impacts public education in a negative way, like charter schools, I'm going to be vocal and I'm going to fight back about things that I don't think is good for Kentucky.
Now, this is a small part of Issues and Answers that aired tonight. You can catch the whole version on our website at WYMT.com. Kentucky Secretary of State says she'll not be making the run for governor this year. Secretary Allison Lundergan Grimes released a statement this morning. In her statement, Grimes says she wants to focus on her family. She gave birth to a son last month. Grimes says she won't seek any statewide office in 2019, but says she looks forward to returning to public service in the future. And Senator Kamala Harris says she's running for president in 2020. The California Democrat says she plans to fight what she sees as the injustices of the Trump presidency. She made the announcement on Good Morning America. Harris's campaign released a brief video on social media as well. Her official campaign kickoff will take place next Sunday in Oakland. That's where she was born. And President Trump made a visit to the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial on the National Mall today. President Trump laid a wreath at the foot of the memorial. The president made a few brief remarks. He was also joined by Vice President Mike Pence. The president also tweeted earlier in the day honoring Dr. King. Today, the Hazard Community and Technical College celebrated Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s life as well at its annual breakfast. Dr. King was shot and killed in April of 1968, but many still remember his fight during the Civil Rights Movement and his hope for peace. Guest speakers shared the impact of his legacy and how it impacted their lives and honored his tradition by marching through the streets of downtown following the breakfast. Marchers say they celebrated progress made, but marched because there's still steps untaken.
You know, we're not taught in school about the practice of redlining. We're not taught about the way that our entire economy really was built on the backs of slaves in this country. And I think until we start really taking that to heart and teaching it to our kids and really thinking about what it means to live in equity and unity, that we're not going to be able to do it.
Organizers say approximately 170 people were in attendance for the ceremony at the college. And today is day 31 of the partial government shutdown. With a federal prison in the county, owners of the Martin County IGA hope to alleviate some of the added stress. Around 60 years ago, Judith Ousley's father opened a grocery store. Since then, they have found ways to help the local community. Now, they're allowing federal employees to charge up to $150 each until they receive a paycheck.
And we're a family. We've always been here, and we've always tried to help in cases of emergency and stuff, and this is an emergency.
Both the Inez and Warfield IGAs are providing the charge accounts. If you would like to apply, we have information for that on our website, WYMT.com. And as the nation's longest partial government shutdown continues, some federal workers are forced to find new jobs. All the way in Oklahoma, Caleb McCoy has started driving for Uber. He's a hydraulic technician for the U.S. Geological Survey. However, he's been furloughed since December 22nd and hasn't had a paycheck since the 28th.
I'd heard of Uber. I'd kind of looked at it from time to time as a potential job opportunity I could use to make, some side money.
Now, over the weekend, President Donald Trump offered protections for Dreamer immigrants in exchange for nearly $6 billion to build his border wall. However, Democratic officials say they aren't interested in the proposal. A 20-year-old man was shot and killed in a shooting at a mall in the Chicago suburbs tonight. The Orland Park police say at about 6:45 p.m., a man was shot in the center area of the mall's food court. The victim was taken to a nearby hospital where he died. Police say they are still searching for the shooter, and they believe the shooter and the victim knew each other. Police say they believe it was an isolated incident. Well, coming up at 11, the winter storm that swept across the country has left frigid temperatures in its wake. With 1 million people expected to be in Atlanta for the Super Bowl, what will it cost fans to travel there? Well, we'll have those details.
And multiple snow chances are possible this week. We'll break down what you need to know.
Get front porch flavor for a laid-back price on McDonald's $1, $2, $3 menu. Like any size refreshing sweet tea for just $1. Or a flaky buttermilk crispy chicken biscuit for $3. Find more classics now on the $1, $2, $3 menu.
You might see it here. Here. Or here. You might see it pretty early on. You can definitely see it here. Oh, that's a good place too. It's something you have to see for yourself. And once you do, you'll see it anywhere you go.
At Baptist Health, we want you to know the facts. Visit BaptistHealthDocs.com to view a video of occupational therapist Barbara Canada on diagnosing and treating lymphedema. Baptist Health Corbin. Be a healthier you.
The Ford Escape is the car you want when you want an SUV. But also the SUV you want when you want a car.
Now you can get a Ford Escape with up to $4,500 cash back. That's up to $4,500 cash back, only from your local Ford store.
It's Toyota's all-wheel drive season, and with 12